In 2011, Morris admitted to informing these Gateway elders about the kid about 2 weeks before her 13th birthday. To further reveal the situation, let's examine the names of these elders who were supposed to lead the church in 2011. According to an archived version of Gateway's website, Jimmy Evans was one of them. The name of the person is James Robinson. Hayford, Jack, Little Todd. Lane is Doolan Stephen, Grove, Kevin, Smith, David C., Jeremy Carrasco, and Galen Loy. These individuals were supposed to lead with honesty and respect the principles they professed to believe in, but when this was brought to their attention in 2011, they did absolutely nothing. Instead, they opted to remain silent, cover up, and protect their reputation. Now, Robertson, James, it is absolutely unacceptable that one of those elders had the gall to post a video last year denying knowing that Clemisher was underage. He claimed to have been shocked by the revelations. I knew Robert had a history of moral failings, but I had no clue it involved a child. I didn't find out about the girl's age until last year's news broke. This week I was shocked by Robert's handling of the situation. He did the wrong thing, and abuse of any kind is never acceptable. If we dissect Robinson's claim that he was unaware of the age, we find that in 2011, while serving as an elder at Gateway Church, a formal announcement was sent out to the elders. Morris himself confessed in this announcement to Clemisher was murdered just 2 weeks before her 13th birthday. Now, who is telling the truth here? Morris admitted to the abuse in a black and white official document that was given to the church leaders, but Robinson said last year on video that he had no knowledge. What gives credence to the court documents if Clemisher was underage? Robinson is either totally unaware of the truth, or more likely is being dishonest. Jimmy Evans is the next individual on the list who has been having trouble hiding his lies. At this point, it's almost as if Jimmy Evans is the go-to guy for big-time Christian leaders who need to cover up. All they have to do is show up with their best spiritual front. He managed to do it all for jonilamb, using language and somehow brushing it off. It's as predictable as clockwork. Whenever these leaders mess up, Jimmy Evans steps in and gives them a prophecy. Many of you may have heard the recordings where Jonathan Lamb exposed the meetings with Jimmy Evans. What do we hear? Jimmy Evans doing what he does best, spinning lies and defending Doug Weiss and jonilamb. Divine intervention, as if that could transform matters. Please watch this video in which Robert Morris admits that Jimmy Evans prophesied to him while he was dealing with the shame he had accrued as a result of his past actions. For him, the expansion of the church was not a blessing. It irritated me. Wherever I went, people would recognize me. Robert, I have a word from God for you. Jimmy Evans called me one day as sales of my books and television shows skyrocketed. People would approach me wherever I went, and the shame I felt was unbearable. I prayed this morning, and then he exclaimed, "You're believing a lie. The more the church expands, the more terrified you become," he said, because Satan is trying to tell you that the more powerful you are, the more easily you will fall. Elder Jimmy Evans, who lived through those years, stated in June 2024 that the glitch the Morris endured. He stated that his knowledge of Morris's affair was limited to a woman he dated when he was in his early 20s. Evans further stated that he had no knowledge of the claims made by Clemisher. However, court records have now shown that Jimmy Evans was present in meetings involving Robert Morris and Cindy Clemisher as early as 2007. Evans was aware of the abuse because he repeated his version of events leading up to 1987, admitted to it, was a member of the leadership, and helped protect Morris, protecting him from the fallout of his conduct, and then, in the past year, Evans brazenly claimed to be shocked. Jimmy Evans, who has been involved in this for a long time and is now trying to clear his name, has released a new statement in which he claims Robert Morris told him that Cindy Clemisher was 16 years old. The other defendants in the case have also issued statements attempting to disavow their involvement. In his statement, Evans exemplifies the classic strategies that these leaders employ to avoid responsibility for their actions and the cover-up: minimization, temporal distancing, blame shifting, and so on. Evans is attempting to deflect attention away from himself and the truth by accusing Morris of being. Tom Lane is another individual caught up in this mess. He too pretended shock in a public statement, but again, court documents have exposed him. These leaders can no longer afford to make nebulous claims or act as if they weren't involved. They were complicit and knew it, aware of the reality. It's frustrating that Lane and the other elders pretended not to notice Cindy's age when the abuse was happening, but they also chose to act as if they were innocent bystanders. These men have spent years covering up the abuse, protecting their friend, protecting the church's reputation, and allowing the victim to suffer in silence. Silence. The documents don't lie, but now that the truth is out, they want to act shocked to pretend they weren't aware of what was happening. History is unforgiving, and those who suffered, no one, including Cindy Claylazire, ever tells a fib. No one is necessarily trustworthy simply because they stand behind a pulpit or have a position of authority in the church. In fact, it's frequently On the contrary, we ought to anticipate honesty and integrity from our leaders. However, we have repeatedly witnessed that being a Christian leader does not render one trustworthy or immune to criticism. Far too often we have been advised to have faith in those in authority, such as pastors, elders, and leaders, and assume that they are acting morally. However, what we are witnessing here is illustrates how easily authority figures, particularly in religious organizations, can misuse their position for personal gain. Those in positions of leadership have a special obligation to set a good example by living a life of integrity. When they fall short, when they opt to conceal or defend their own interests rather than speak the truth, we, the church, must expose them.